Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai, Bahashem Rakakudash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners. And to the Akwath that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm coming at you with another lesson in truth. The video that's on the screen was called Reverse Racism, and it was put up by the brothers in Boston, GMS Boston, on the streets. And I watched it, and this was a very edifying video. All right, and they handled this Edomite with skill, with salt. The way the scriptures came out and the scriptures that they chose, it was all through the spirit, and it was done. And then while watching the video, there's something that I noticed about her. And what I noticed about her was her body language, her facial expressions when she actually got it, when she understood that this wasn't, when she actually understood what they were saying. And the fear that came upon her face, and then how she got defensive with lies after that. All right. And I'm going to, so first scripture I'm going to read is Job 20:10, because right here she's talking about how she adopts children, and she has an adopted black son. All right. So she starts right, right here, that's what she's saying. So I'm going to let it play from there. But first I want to read that. And it reads, his children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods. And their hands are going to restore our goods. See, they don't want to do that part. They'll talk this big game about, oh, well, equality and jobs and woo-wop bam. No, the only way to really restore, to pay back, was that you literally have to give up everything that you own. I'm talking specifically to Edomites, to the pale flesh Edomites, and the Terry Edomites, wherever they are. All right, because every place that you are on the earth, all right, the whole world has benefited from America. And America was built up off the blood, sweat, tears, oppression, slavery of the Israelites. Both the northern and southern kingdom served slavery here. All right, the northern kingdom lost their land to Esau, Edom. All right, and then the southern kingdom did forced labor, and their free labor, all right, for over 400 years, all right, is how America grew to be the wealthiest and most powerful nation the earth has ever seen.
Now, somebody read that, because you said.
I'm gonna take that back a little bit because the sound wasn't really.
Your son? For some reason, I don't think you got a black son. I could be wrong. I think you're black.
When you adopt kids, that's what you do.
I adopted Cameron.
Now, somebody read that, because you said that we're all oppressed by white people. Read the law.
This is Exodus chapter 21, verse 16. It says, and he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death.
What does that say again? Read that again.
Exodus, the book of...
Now, right before that, all right, and I highly suggest that you go and watch this video. It's called Reverse Racism, all right? And it was put up by the brothers from the Boston camp, GMS Boston on the streets, all right? And she just said out of her own mouth that so-called black people are oppressed by white people even now, to this day. She agreed to that, okay?
Scripture, the book of Exodus chapter 21.
What does it say?
Verse 16. And he that stealeth a man...
So if you steal a man, if you kidnap a man, right? If you kidnap a people, go ahead.
And selleth him.
And you sell him. The so-called black man was sold on ox and slave blocks. Right here. You see that? We were sold, right? On ox and slave blocks, right? Go ahead.
Or if he be found in his hand.
Yeah, right now in America, we're found in the so-called white man's hand. That's why we still possess the names of our last names of our masters, of our slave masters, whether it's Martinez or Henderson or Johnson, right? Jackson, Hamilton. All right, those are the names of our oppressors, of our slave masters, and we're still in. The scriptures say we're yet this day in the land of our captivity. We're still subjected to payments. All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
Now, she was all smiles prior to this. The seriousness and the look on her face as she actually began to read the sign. And the overstanding of the reading, because she had just agreed that kidnapping and slavery was wrong and that was done to them and that they are still, all right, that we are still oppressed by these people today. All right. And now the seriousness of her countenance changes to this very serious look right here. Now she's worried that, wait a minute, they're reading the Bible and what you're saying, she's realizing that, yes, she is a part of the people that are guilty of that. All right? Pay close attention to her mannerisms and her facial expressions as her brothers continue to educate her.
Here. So these are, how do you describe these? These are the different levels of...
Those are the 12
No, these are the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Yeah, the so-called black man in America is not African, but he's an Israelite. See, what your forefathers did is they hid that from you because it's much easier to enslave an African, right? If they told you that, hey, these were the children of Israel, you may have not been with that. You would have said, whoa, this is bad because you call yourself a Christian. You'd have went in the Bible and you'd have said, this is wrong. But because they're African, it's easy to do. The scripture said that they would hide that. But it also said in the last days that our true nationality was going to come out, right?
That's right.
And this is what it is. So so-called Negroes, what's a Negro? Or black? Black is just a color. Black is not a nationality.
What does it have to do with religion?
Well, nothing. It has to do with the Bible. It has to do with
So
prophecy.
you're quoting Exodus.
Right. Okay, so that's our book. The Lord gave that.
See, she's very concerned. She's like, what does this have to do with religion? And the reason she's saying that is because she's religious. All right. And religion, especially Christianity in America, teaches love, 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 forgive, 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 love, love, love only. They don't teach about the wrath, the lamentation, the woe, the dark sayings. All right. So she was very confused and very concerned.
The Lord gave the laws to Moses, and Moses gave it to the children of Israel. So that's in the law. And hey, that's an American law too. You cannot kidnap somebody and then sell them. That's called human trafficking, kidnapping.
You see the look of horror and confusion that was on her face? Because she got it. That's the moment when it actually hit her. That, damn, I might be in trouble for what my people have done. All right? In fact, let me just, because she was a little bit out of frame. All right, just the seriousness on the looks on her face at this point as they're edifying.
That's in the law. And hey, that's an American law too. You cannot kidnap somebody and then sell them. That's called human trafficking, kidnapping. There's consequences for doing something like that. But the difference is our power judges generations. So he said he judges to the third and the fourth generation.
So now her mind is working. And the proof of it is going to be the next statements that comes out of her mouth. You know, being in this truth, the Lord has really opened our eyes. And one thing that I've done, I've learned how to read people. More so than I ever have in my life, you know. I've learned how to read people. And this was a concerned and fearful woman. But this is a woman, this is an Edomite who's just going to do what comes to them naturally. All right, let me read it. I'm going to read it ahead of time and you'll see it in a moment. This is Psalms 58:3. The wicked are estranged from their womb. They go astray as soon as they be born. speaking lies. Let's let her talk.
He's not going to judge you right away. He's going to judge you according to what your forefathers did.
And it's
So
not,
you got to pay for what your forefathers did.
it's not personal. It's not a personal thing on a said white person. All of y'all are going to be judged as a nation of people.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
I think that's absolutely true for everybody.
That's what happened to us.
Well, we're now us coming into captivity.
Now she's pleading. Think about the Holocaust, and this happened to everybody. The Holocaust had nothing to do with the Bible. The Holocaust is not biblical, right? That was just Edomite on Edomite crime. That was white people gang banging and murdering other white people. Okay, and it's funny how they always bring that event up. 6 million, but there was 79 million other people, mostly Edomites, that died during that time period. But for some reason, only 6 million matter.
Is us being judged as a nation. So we had to go into slavery because we disobeyed the law, statutes, and commandments of the scriptures. But this is the reason why we're in slavery. But
so now she's getting it because guess what? The issues, the 1948ers, they don't fit that prophecy. And right there, she almost looked like she wanted to break down. She's trying to compel her, compose herself, keep her composure. All right? She's trying to keep her composure because he's tearing her down. And I don't even know if he realized he was tearing her down the way that he was. All right?
What does the book of Numbers say?
This is the book of Numbers 14 and 18. It says the Lord...
No, I want you to make your point if you disagree.
Okay, I think it's possible to think about it as, this is not an excuse.
Right.
Anything.
Yep.
But I'm not sure how far down people are responsible.
Right.
And I know you're saying that because I adopted, that I essentially kidnapped my child.
No.
Now, did you hear that? She says she didn't. And look at the smirk on her face. You see how she tried to flip the script? That's why I read that scripture. Because she's had this look of despair and fear on her face, and all of a sudden she smiled. But she said, I don't know how far down the responsibility for what was done goes. And then she said, and I understand. She said, and you're saying that I adopted my son, so I kidnapped my son. You see how she tried to...
Not saying that.
don't mix words. Yeah, don't mix that.
No.
Come on.
But you're saying there should be a cutoff date until what your forefathers did.
Reparations? Yes.
To a extent. Statute of limitations. Basically, you shouldn't be judged for which.
It's very,
You know Andrew Jackson. You're familiar with Andrew Jackson, right? He was a very evil man, right? You're familiar with the bloody trail and the trail of tears and tears. Oklahoma.
Tulsa.
All right, so you're familiar with Andrew Jackson, right? So basically, should you be held accountable for what Andrew Jackson did?
I think
Because
what
we
you get
did-
to there is as a collective society,
Yep.
we have to do better and not repeat the errors of the forefathers who
Okay.
are reprehensibly guilty.
Okay.
But she's not, and see, that's not justice. Because she's doing the same thing that Haman Malone does. She's trying to find a way out of her judgment. What's he saying? That we have to do better? No. The Lord, the matter of fact, let me go to Numbers. This right can only be, this wrong can only be made right through blood and repayment. All right. The Lord said he does, the scriptures clearly tell you the Lord never changes, man. But darn, I was looking for something, then I forgot because I started. Darn it. Well, through the Spirit maybe to come on back, but let's let it go.
And did do evil things.
Okay.
And I think, if you looked at people now and you said, is it okay to have slaves or to human traffic? Most people would, I hope most people would say absolutely not. That's a wrong thing.
So did you answer the question? Do you think you should be held accountable for what Andrew Jackson did? Because what Andrew Jackson did...
The water Yahweh Shem now was shy. It came back. and I was going to Numbers 35:33. And it reads, so ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. And one of the first things he said when she walked up was that this country, this land, this road was built on the blood of our brothers, of our people. Especially in Boston. Remember, they had they're in Boston. What was one of the most famous incidents that happened in the Boston was the Boston Tea Party, which was a false flag event which labeled Native Americans as terrorists. So how many Native Americans, and now you will never know that history, but how many Native Americans you think were killed, scalped, and shot after that false event was blamed on them? Yeah.
Was in the face of America. What Benjamin Franklin did, what the forefathers did, America got rich off of the backbones of these people. When you're dealing with Wall Street, when you're dealing with the industrial revolutionaries, that was the money that they got the capital from what? From.
Well, do you not split them when you have the Union and the Confederacy?
No, it doesn't matter.
If
like some people finally said, hey.
She is desperately trying to find a way out of there. So now she's trying to put it on Southern Edomites. She doesn't want to partake in the punishment and the repayment of Manifest Destiny Part 2.
You know, maybe what we're doing here is really.
What if Abraham Lincoln said? What if Abraham Lincoln said that if he could have kept the Union together without freeing the slave, he would have done so?
That's right. He said that. That's right.
So did you know that?
So can we say what emancipation means? Somebody get the definition.
You know what it
of
means to
emancipation?
emancipate something?
Okay.
No, it's a transformation of it. So we were private slave owners, and now we are what? We're property of the state. So when you're dealing with Joe Biden and corporation and mass incarceration, underneath the 13th Amendment that allows slavery pending what? A crime, right? That's when you have all these laws that was made to entrap so-called black people and to put them in prison. Now you have 2.5 million black people behind bars alone, way more than ever there was in slavery.
Right, which probably about 90% of the stockholders of those private institutions of slavery, which is the jail system, are Edomites, white people like herself. Okay.
Making all kind of things, helmets for the U.S. Army, license plates,
furniture, free.
McDonald's, all kind of major corporations getting it for free. And don't got to pay no health insurance. There's no sick days, no tax, no time off.
See, she's getting cut, and she's getting it now. She's actually getting it. She's concerned. So now she's pled her case, and the brothers just going to continue to expose and shame, bring that shameful spewing on her glory. And she's ready to exit stage left at this point.
No tax, and they get tax credited, all right, because they deem the workers as high risk workers. All right, so what you did was you kind of did something real slick. It was real crafty. You gotta admit.
Change the word.
Get rid of it. So when you're dealing with emancipation, there was no abolishment of it. It was a transformation. That's why we went from private slave owners to what? Public slave owners. And you know what was that? The states, in fear of losing their sovereignty and their rights, you know what they did? They gave up people as a security. That's why you have a social security card.
And she's actually in shock that these young brown men that she would ignorantly, and people were ignorantly called black, and all I see is brown skin, different shades of brown, are well informed and educated on the subject matters that they're speaking on. All right, because this is not a conversation that a so-called white person is used to having, especially with someone of color. All right, and for them to know as much as they know, they're not comfortable, with topics like this at all. This is Ecclesiastes 8:11, and it reads, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the hearts of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. So Esau, Edom continued to pass unrighteous decrees, and suppress our history, suppress our nationality, and then oppress us you know, with all these unrighteous decrees and contractual law, and you know, and railroad us off to the prison systems and everything else. But now, as America is falling apart and crumbling, the payments are due. All right. These Edomites are nervous. They're not sleeping well. They're losing their health and their wealth. You know, they're losing their precious America, their freedoms. They're being oppressed by their own people. You know, the curses are falling upon them. This is Galatians 6 and 7. And it reads, "Be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap." And that's also for Eamon Malone and any other so-called Christian. The Lord, that's why in the end game in Revelation it tells you that somebody's going into slavery. Who is that? Some of the people who took people into slavery. Matter of fact, we'll read that too. This is Colossians 3 and 25. First heard Elder Apostle Gabar bring this scripture out about 13 years ago. Well, around that time, yeah, and never forgot it, man. This one stuck with me. This is Colossians 3 and 25. "But he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he have done, and there is no respect of persons." All right, no respect of persons. So doesn't matter if you was from the south or the north. She tried to separate, you know, the Edomites from the south, and the Edomites in the north. They did it even more. You know what? The worst type of devil is the devil that pretends to be your friend and care about you, as they put you in their oppressive, systems. You know, the devil that just outright hates you and shows you he hates you. He's the better devil, because now at least you know where you stand. All right. But this is Revelation 13 and 10. All right, and this is what happens when the kingdom of heaven comes. All right, because you know you got all these Haman Malone and all these Christians and people like her trying to get out of the slavery thing. The kingdom of heaven is established with slavery. So Isaiah 14 has not happened yet. All right, throw that out there too. But this is Revelation 13 and 10, and it reads, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints." So suffering is what patience means. All right. So the saints are suffering patiently and faithfully, waiting to kill those that kill us, and to put into slavery those that put us into slavery. Thus saith the Lord. Call halal Yahweh by Shanawashai, by Hashem Rakakwadash, Wa Abba Babal, Kwam Yasurala.